Let's now touch upon glazes. Of course, an important element to any ceramic tile line. I have in front of me 3x6 white subway tile. Basic, mundane, perhaps, but below the surface lies a very, very important aspect. An aspect to white not being just a white. So what I'm going to do to illustrate this point, I'm going to put a very white tile, which is the whitest in this collection, in front of these different whites. Now, you're going to see immediately how much this changes. So the value or underlying color beneath this white all of a sudden comes about, and you see the true color. If you have cooler colors such as blue, a white with just a little blue in it or a cooler value will go much better than something, of course, that has a red undertone or going to appear pinkish. This is similar to a paint chart. One of the great things about a paint chart is you can just move along and compare all of the colors and find just the right one. Most ceramic tile you commonly see have had their glazes applied by machine in a high production line. This creates a perfectly even coat of glaze across the surface of the tile. Now, this may sound like a great idea. The only difference is when you put it in front of a handcrafted material, the difference between the two becomes readily apparent. Vermeer tile has had its glaze sprayed by hand and is the perfectly imperfect application of this material across the surface of that tile that makes it so beautiful. When the tile is then fired, there is a gentle pooling of the glaze along the edges of the tile. This creates a beautiful outline and delineation of the edges. When beautifully glazed material such as this is installed in a space, the effect of each tile is cumulative. They together create an incredible masterwork upon the walls. Inferior glazes will dull over time, especially in a wet area or shower area where water, which is full of iron particles and other minerals, beats across the surface from a shower head or a faucet and actually will begin to abrade and dull the tile. So if you have an inferior or weak glaze on that tile, it will become dull over time. If you have a strong glaze, it's going to withstand all of that abrasion. The mark of any great ceramic tile line is its finishes. I have here a beautiful gloss finish with a little translucency and just the right amount of sheen. Next, a crackle finish, which has the most wonderful tiny fractures across the surface of the tile, barely perceptible within the space, but adding a wonderful subtle detail. Mind you, crackle glaze is quite structurally sound. Taking this a step further, we have a finish called Crackle with taupe veins. This is where a dye is actually impregnated into the fractures of the material and becomes permanent. This accentuates all of the wonderful detail in the crackle without being too overt. This is a sumptuous matte finish. It is a fine, delicate finish with a subtle grain across the surface of the material. Very few ceramic tile lines even have a matte finish, let alone the sheer number available from the Vermeere Ceramics series. This is a great way to add a distinctive appearance to a space, or when you have a client that is just simply averse to shiny materials. Many designers will mix finishes, using a gloss for the base molding and chair rail, and a matte finish such as this one for the main field tile. Now, on the subject of ceramic tile molding and trim, I know of no other ceramic line that has this many options. Every molding and trim piece in the entire collection is available in all 90 colors and all 4 finishes. The weak point of many a well-planned project can be the transitions. Now, transitions can range from one plane, horizontal, to vertical, one material, one finish, one space to another. If those aren't handled in just the right way with the proper delineation, those can appear unplanned. Thus, the importance of an element to define those transitions properly. The simplest form of trim is, of course, the tried and true ceramic bullnose tile. Here we have a sampling of materials where the tile of an appropriate size is simply rounded over at its edge. This creates a finished area. Some are rounded only on one long end, some are rounded on a short end, and some are rounded on 2 sides. This is a simple yet effective way to terminate your tile installation.